Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Dinkytown Sports. Today we discuss Rivalry Week and the newest CFP rankings. Enjoy.
And welcome back to the Dinkytown Sports Broadcast with back to our normal two with Christian Otati and Cody Hain.
It does seem
I'm
normal now, right?
yeah, especially since Zach got a job. Like, little does he know, pot is life. Anyways, we're gonna go over our first good week, at least for some of us, in quite a while. Like, we haven't been doing well at all for picks. This week changed that. We all started off 2-0. We started off hot. We're going to just hop right in here. And first up, we had Minnesota at Wisconsin taking on the Skunks. And this day made me unbelievably happy for more than just getting the axe this year. Minnesota has now ended Wisconsin's winning season record. They had 22 years in a row with a winning record. And the Gophers just ended it. They lost their bowl streak. And by the way, this 22 years was longer than Alabama's for winning seasons. So,
Well, when you play in the Big Ten West, it's a little easier.
I mean, but for a lot of those years, there was no Big Ten West. It was just the Big Ten.
Well, when you play in the Big Ten, it's a lot easier. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Luckily, Zach's not here to fight you on that one.
Yeah, he can just
I'll just let you say it and
and
sound
stew.
him.
He can listen to this
Yeah.
and stew in his anger.
Next time we do picks, he's gonna be in here just ripping you apart for that.
Yeah. So what did you like out of Minnesota?
I like a lot of things. I wish our offense, I wish it wouldn't have hit a lull there. The first couple of drives were concerning, and then we scored a couple of touchdowns, and then we kind of went. Like, I wish our offense would have played more consistent, but our defense, they had a heck of a day. Defense was the most impressive side of the ball. We held them to 7, and even on that 7, they needed a personal foul, which was a personal foul, but there were some other ones let go that were way worse than that one. So interesting, but nonetheless, I mean, 24-7 against your rivals is always a good feeling. I know Christian made a comment in the group chat during the game. It was a question: would you sacrifice beating your rivals to get rid of a head coach? And
I said that pregame. That was
pregame,
my leading. I tweeted out some things too, where I said, maybe it was on Reddit. I can't remember. I'm active on everything, and I talk crap on everything. I love doing that. But
yeah, so go find them so you guys can argue.
Yeah, you'll never know who I am though. Anonymous shit poster. But I don't know, because before, I mean, if you guys ended up losing this game, I mean, that's the worst season Fleck would have had since he came here. And and I think there was cause for a potential maybe trying to get rid of him if he did lose this. But as PJ Fleck does, he always makes it look good at the end of the season.
And this is going to be a question. Now it's going to be a season of what ifs. You know, what if we had beat Penn State, you know, losing by 1? What if we had beat North Carolina? What if that onside kick wasn't called back in the Michigan game? Like, if you take those games and you flip all the one-score games that Minnesota had and flip them to Minnesota, this is a CFP team. So it just leaves a bad taste in my mouth that we underperformed again. I listened to Ron Johnson. I don't know if you know who he is, Christian. He's a Gopher great. He does a bunch of podcasts and stuff, and I listened to him talk. And someone asked him, would you rather have this win or the Penn State win? And I agreed with what he said here. He goes, I wanted the Wisconsin win more than anything, because if we had beat Penn State and then went into Madison and lost, it'd be a lot worse than losing to Penn State at home.
Yeah, if you had to have
Wisconsin
one or the other. Like, I think if you could only have one, exactly how it turned out is how you would want it to. Like, losing by 1 to number 4 Penn State and then beating Wisconsin. So, yeah, but I mean, obviously you'd like to have both, but
yeah. And it was funny because I saw some people taking the Penn State and Penn State with the points, and they're 11-point favorites against Minnesota last week.
Mm-hmm.
And all I said was Penn State hasn't really blown anybody out yet. And Minnesota is a good team when they show up. That's only been the problem this year. I wouldn't even put it on coaching. It's just the players showing up. Okay, maybe North Carolina, a couple of play calls, but basically since then, play calling's been fine. It's just been the players not stepping up or being run all over by Caleb Johnson. So I don't know. It's. I said anything under 8-4 is a failure, so I'm going to stick with that. But the silver linings in this failure are a lot. There's a lot more of them than there are nitpicks. So
yeah, I've always said this, that it's really disappointing because you only get the 1 year out of Brosmer. You know, you would have loved to have grabbed him maybe a year ago and gotten 2 seasons out of him, but this was an all-in year. I don't think that there's any debate. I was getting in an argument with somebody, I don't remember who it was, that this was an all-in year for Minnesota, because you don't go out and grab a rental quarterback, a lease, for 1 year before he graduates, and not try to win everything you can, you know? So I think that coming out of your all-in season 7-5 is not ideal. 5-4 in conference, that's not going to cut it.
No, and I agree with you. I think it's looking brighter, though. And Minnesota fans who are starting to get like bored with mediocrity, and I know, Christian, you feel this with some of your teams, but Minnesota fans, all we feel is like mediocrity. We don't feel the great. We don't have championship teams, but we also don't have teams that are the worst in the league either.
Mm-hmm.
We're always mediocre, on the fringe of making the playoffs or being in the playoffs barely. Like, that's just Minnesota sports.
Mm-hmm.
So people that are getting upset with mediocrity and want more, like myself, because I think we should always, that's the goal, is always to be better. I think that's a good sign for the program, though, because 10 years ago we would give anything for a 7-5 season, 5-4 in the Big Ten. We would have given anything for that, and now we're doing it and we're getting bored with it. I'm guilty of it. A lot of it is to do with my age, because I was young when those teams were really, really bad. And then when Kill came in and started turning the program around, I was, that's more about the age where I started like really buying into football. So, so yeah, I do tend to get a little bit more jump the gun, but it's the same thing the Badgers are facing with their head coach right now. You get rid of him, who are you going to go get? Is it going to be worse than 7-5 right now? Because Minnesota can't afford to pay anyone the big bucks. They're similar in Wisconsin that way for football. Who are you going to go get?
Yeah, it's the take the risk. Are you fed up enough to take the risk to go out and get someone? That's what you have to ask yourself.
I think Fickle needs another year. He should get at least 3.
Oh yeah, I don't think Wisconsin's moving on from Fickle unless he leaves on his own volition somewhere. I don't think they're going to get rid of him.
Some of their fans have called for his head after losing to Minnesota, but they do that to pretty much every coach when they lose to Minnesota. It's just great. It's fun to watch, Badgers fans like get upset and basically be where Minnesota was, for the past 10 years. That's where they are now. Their program is declining. I think there's going to be a lot of transfers in the offseason from everything I've been reading from Wisconsin. So all their talent is going to move away. And then hopefully they'll be bottom feeders. That's my goal. Minnesota to beat up on Wisconsin, and for Wisconsin and Iowa to be bottom feeders. So
yeah,
I love it. I love it. We're going to move on to our next game here. Minnesota, just talking about that game basically one last time here. It was just pure domination. That score doesn't even tell the whole story. We won by 17, but that game was absolute domination by the Gophers. They did get a little squirrely when we were up 21-7 and Wisconsin was driving on us. I even made a comment. I'm like, well, here's typical Minnesota for you, because I started getting nervous when they were getting closer. And we held them to a field goal attempt, which they missed. So the defense held on and did its thing, man.
Yeah, college kickers doing what they do.
Except for Kesic, apparently. Kesic
Yeah, don't jinx him.
is a
He had
beast.
a terrible start to the year, so.
Yeah, and I told you that it could have been the Yips, or because he is, like I said, he was the best kicker in the Big Ten last year. So it's not like this guy hasn't had good years or anything like that. It was just getting him out of his funk.
Yeah, most of this game was just like the defense dominating and the offense just holding on to the football. They had 11, almost 12 more full minutes of possession and 200 more yards. So,
yeah, the type of football that Fleck likes. Hold on to the ball.
That's a Fleck masterclass when it works.
Yes.
When a Fleck disaster class is the Northwestern game last year.
Or I would argue the Rutgers game, which I know is more on the players, but
no, that was like an offensive line meltdown. We weren't even mad at Fleck after that game. That was just like the offensive line.
And I'm not saying
terribly.
to be mad at Fleck now. I'm just throwing out other games where we probably, like in his tenure, that we probably should have won. Yeah, Bowling Green a few years ago, Wisconsin, Iowa in 2019. Like, you split those two games, you're arguing over, if you win the Big Ten championship, then you're getting into the CFP. So, and we could have, because we beat Auburn that year. I believe Auburn beat Bama that year.
That was a good Auburn year.
Yeah, and Bama didn't make it that year, I believe. But that's the measuring stick.
They're
was
always
the year
Tua got hurt, I think.
Yeah, and you guys are the measuring stick. You guys are always, perennially going to the playoffs.
Including maybe this year. Foreshadowing.
Maybe. This is going to be interesting. There's chaos in the CFP right now.
I did want to say, as a rounding off of Minnesota's season, I think you're a little upset, especially considering who's leaving. I don't know. I don't know if you guys have thought about this. I know I brought it up last week, but you lose Brosmer, obviously, because he was a rental. You lose Ursery to the draft.
EJ.
Wally is gone. Lindenberg's gone. These are like huge key pieces of the team, and you have to hope that guys that you have on roster can fill in and you can go out in the portal and grab people. I think the portal is going to be hot and heavy this year. Because the first year of the 12-team playoff, you're kind of seeing that you can pretty much go anywhere and succeed. Mm-hmm. So if you see something that you're buying into, you can go there, because you got teams like Boise State and SMU making their playoff runs right now. You can take a chance on Minnesota if you're confident in Fleck's style of coaching. If you think Lindsey's a good quarterback, if you think if Darius Taylor sticks around, we're hoping he does. That if you want to be blocking for him, maybe there's some O-line guys out there. I don't know. It's interesting. I'm excited to see how they react to the portal this year, because there's already a ton of people in the portal.
Yeah.
Kobe Prentice for Bama just said he was going to the portal.
And that's the thing. Like, we don't talk about this a lot with Minnesota, but Fleck has done great in the transfer portal. I mean, Daniel Jackson was a transfer. Elijah Spencer was a transfer. Like, because you brought up some of these positions, and that we're losing a lot, and we are. But Fleck has been a good enough recruiter and a guy to go get someone in the transfer portal that he's been able to mostly keep Minnesota at the same skill level every year. Mm-hmm. The big question mark for me this year isn't receiver, linebacker, things like that, because I think Minnesota's going to be fine there. They have been for the past, since Fleck's been here, more or less. So I'm not too worried about that. But the big one is, quarterbacking. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, you got to hope Lindsey's ready for the challenge, or you're going to have to go and maybe grab someone else out of the portal like you did with Brosmer. I don't know if you even look in the portal for that, and it's interesting. I don't know, that this is the fun part about like being a coach. Like, this is like the GMing part of the job that's really cool. Like, you have to take gambles. You have to see, because Brosmer, I would say, worked out. I think you got the best quarterback season that you could have out of him.
Yeah.
So I think that gives you confidence in that you can find someone in the portal. Mm-hmm. It's just who's there, who's available. I haven't heard any names of anyone really. I think.
No.
Oh gosh. Like, was it FIU's quarterback? Somebody who they were saying was going to go to Auburn. It's so fun. I like it. I wish it was a little harder to kind of move, but it is cool. I will say.
Yeah. And before we leave, you know, you mentioned Taylor maybe sticking around because he could go ring chase. I mean, he's good enough. But besides, you know, the winning a championship thing, I don't know if you want to leave Minnesota because you're getting, you know, you're running the ball and you're catching the ball right now, and all it's doing is making your draft stock go up at the moment. So I think you stick with Minnesota because you're a one running back that didn't get hurt, you know, tear up his knees two back-to-back years.
Mm-hmm.
Ibrahim did it. Like all of our Rodney Smith did it. Like all of our running backs have done that because they're such high usage. Well, now with Majors, you know, this year, and he could split it a little bit more, it worked out a lot better for him, I'd say. I think, no, I don't know, I guess. I don't know how old Major is.
Because he came in as a transfer.
Yeah, I don't remember
gone.
if he did.
Marcus Major.
He's gone?
Yeah, but you got Bangura came in.
Yeah.
I think, doesn't Jordan Newman have another year of eligibility?
I don't know, but Newman was a good, like, guy you brought in on passing situations to block, or he did that
Newman's
a few times.
Junior, and
like,
he's not going to declare anything, so he'll stick around probably. So you still got DT, Newman, Bangura, and the other guy I literally can't remember his name.
Yeah, and then our offensive line, they're gonna be good again next year, or should be good again. Hopefully better than they were at the start of this year.
Yeah, you just gotta hope that someone could slot in for Ursery. That's all.
But like I said, Minnesota the past 2 cycles have done well with offensive linemen. I mean, from 2019 to now, for sure.
And like defense should be fine because everyone was young coming into the season, and Parrish is a stud. So
yeah, Parrish is a beast.
I think Ethan Robinson has another year. He transferred in. I think he's
Minnesota is quietly starting to become DBU right now.
Yeah, we'll see. I really like. I made the DeJean comparison today. I said that I thought that Parrish's instincts were just as good as Cooper DeJean's were when he was young. So
yeah,
and I really like him. I hope he sticks around. He's local, so he has skin in the game to stay. So
yeah, and with the memories he created this year too, you know, the couple of game-sealing picks and that, like, doing that in front of your home crowd and your friends and family, like, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
And even like some of the broadcasters brought that up. They're like, hopefully, you know, with him staying, it'll keep more kids at home playing for their hometown teams. Because I
think it certainly helps your in-state. I think Minnesota, you guys should kill this year as compared to, because if Parrish can come in and do what he did, I think that gives confidence to any of the.
And the crazy thing is too, getting into the recruiting for Minnesota, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, Wisconsin, those teams literally built a lot of their good teams by recruiting the players Minnesota wouldn't go after up here, who might not have been like the highest star recruit, but they had a ton of potential that Minnesota just missed out on. That's how North Dakota State got to be so good. When they beat Minnesota up here and we were in the Dome, half their team was Minnesota kids.
Yeah.
Like, that was their Super Bowl because of the fact, you know, they're playing against the team that, quote unquote, didn't want them. Minnesota's a hotbed for athletics, as weird as that sounds. Hockey, we produce the 5th most professional hockey players in the world. Our basketball is fantastic in Minnesota. Football's starting to get better. I mean, it's a good time to be in Minnesota, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Christian Driver had a pretty good year this year.
Yeah, he'll be back next year, won't he?
Yeah, he's only a sophomore.
Yeah, he showed some flashes.
Yeah, Elijah Spencer's a big loss. Daniel Jackson, obviously. I think he's going to get drafted pretty highly.
I think he should.
Probably early day 2 kind of guy, maybe.
Gosh, it's weird having all these Minnesota kids getting drafted now, because before Fleck, there are hardly any getting drafted.
Yeah, Ursery's a first rounder. D-Jack. I was talking with I follow this guy who does like pre-draft stuff, and he goes to like all the Senior Bowls and stuff, and he says that Max Brosmer has a shot. of like a late pick if he does well at the Senior Bowl.
I mean, he's shown, like, the thing is with Brosmers, he showed flashes of the NFL talent, but can he keep it going?
Yeah.
But hey, a career backup in the NFL, man,
I'd
take
life.
that money too.
I'd
dude. But anyways, moving on to our next game here. We got Oregon State at number 12, Boise State. We all took Oregon State plus 19.
That was just a huge line. We were in.
Yeah.
There was nothing against like Boise State or anything. It was just like 20 points is crazy. I don't think Boise had beaten anyone by 20 in weeks. So
yeah. And with the way with everyone stacking the box against G&T like they are, it just didn't seem likely. Up next, we have Nebraska at Iowa. None of us got this one right. Cameron took Iowa -6. They won by 3. There is some controversy. I will explain that here in a second. Christian, me, and Zach, we all took the over, which did not hit, surprisingly.
Yeah, it was low.
Yes. So the controversy, I don't know if you saw this, Christian, but I was on Twitter scrolling through, and Nebraska called a timeout when Iowa was going to kick a field goal. The whistle blew, play was blowing dead, and then they snapped the ball, and the kicker kicked it, which is a delay of game on the kicking team. You can't kick a ball, because it's not like he called timeout right as they snapped it.
Right.
He called timeout, they blew the whistle, the play was dead, and they still snapped it and kicked it. That's where the contention comes in, and by rights, that should have been a penalty. Moved them 5 yards back, but that's neither here nor there. Iowa typically needs help from the Zebras to win, so makes sense to me, I guess. Up next, this one was a great game. Georgia Tech at Georgia. Well, it's played on neutral site, isn't it? Because that's played in
Georgia,
Atlanta, isn't it?
Oh man, I want to. Georgia never plays their rivalry games at home.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure that's in Atlanta. They play at.
No, it was at Sanford Stadium.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought they normally played in Atlanta or something for this game. I could be just wrong, but Mercedes-Benz, like.
Yeah, not this year. I'm not sure if that's normal or not.
But they do that every once in a while, don't they?
What? Play at Mercedes?
Play at Mercedes-Benz, yeah.
I'll tell you what. I don't really follow the good old-fashioned hate rivalry that closely. I'm not too sure what they do.
I was just curious. Didn't know, and I know you're an SEC guy, so I thought I'd ask.
Yeah, the ACC team being involved just cancels out my my
your
interest
knowledge
in it. Yeah.
Yes. So Georgia Tech, me, Christian, Cam, we all got this one right. We took Georgia Tech plus 19.5. 8 overtimes. Heck of a game. Zach took the Georgia Tech money line. I didn't watch this game, and I probably should have. But Zach said there are a few iffy calls that went Georgia's way at the end.
Yeah, there was some late help. It was a couple plays, but I mean Georgia Tech just has to win. You know, they're up by so much. I
was gonna say
they jumped out to a 17-point lead. Coming out of half, it was 17-0. That you got to win that game. They were up 27-13 with 4 minutes left in the game. So,
well, Georgia, way to pull that one out. I don't feel comfortable with you in the CFP, but most teams I don't at this point because everything's crazy and all hell is broke loose, and I love it.
Yeah, but that was fun. The amount of 2-point conversions that failed was ridiculous, and just
guys, it's 3 yards.
I don't know. The Georgia Tech ran like 2 of the dumbest plays like in their last 2 attempts, so I knew that it was chalked.
Like, I know they went to those new overtime rules to, like, stop a game from, like, 7 overtimes, Texas A&M, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I really wish they'd just do full overtimes, all overtimes again.
I think it'd be harder. I think you'd honestly have less because it's really hard to score at the 3-yard line because there's no space.
Well, part of the reason they gave for this was that 7 OT game for Texas A&M and LSU. They're like, oh, we just want the games to be shorter. I'm like, so you're gonna give like the easiest play, you just got to get 3 yards. You're gonna keep just doing that and giving the ball back. It's gonna be just as long,
technically. But
yeah, because they're just all standing at the 3-yard line.
Yeah, but I mean,
and you only get one try.
Georgia Tech had 15 more minutes of the ball. They had 160 more yards.
They should have won this game. I'm assuming turnovers must have helped Georgia back into it.
There was only one on each side. They didn't win the turnover battle. It was just like it was just good old-fashioned choking is what it ended up being.
Way to go, Georgia Tech, pulling out your inner Minnesotan.
Yeah, there was just a couple drives where they didn't score and they gave up the points to Georgia, and that's I don't know. It would have been nice to see UGA get bounced because then we would have had Bama would have had a much more clear path. But what can you do? Good teams win, Zach.
Yeah, great teams find a way to win. Mm-hmm. And Georgia, a heck of a comeback. So
yep.
Up next, we got Auburn at Alabama. Cam took the over. He was wrong. Christian took Auburn plus 11.5. Ye of little faith. Wrong. I took Bama minus 11.5. I'm the only one that supports Bama here, I guess. And Zach, unsurprisingly, took the Auburn money line. If we were only picking one game throughout the entire year and we had Bama and it was just the Bama game, Zach would always pick against Bama.
Yeah, pretty much.
He would sacrifice it. I love it. I love the pettiness though. Mm-hmm. Kind of gives him an edge.
Yeah, this one wasn't really close.
Yeah, I bet that makes you feel happy though.
Yeah, I wish they would have did a little more on offense, but they kind of just started cruising out of half. It was never really in doubt. They outgained them by a bunch, but the big issue was there was a ton of turnovers. So Milroe threw a pick. He had, I think, 2 lost fumbles at that point. So
Milroe struggled.
Yeah, he hasn't played well towards the end of the year.
Tough for you guys, especially if you get into the CFP.
He did have 250 passing yards and 100 on the ground. It was like one of the first times that's happened in a while since Jalen Hurts played. So, I mean, statistically, I guess he had a good game, but the turnovers were silly, and they realistically Auburn probably could have been blanked here and probably should have, but. At home, Bama's a different team. It's going to be interesting because if they do get into the playoffs, they're going to be away for sure in the first round. So it'll be interesting to see how they do it. Yeah, I mean, Auburn had been playing well going into this game. That's why it just seemed like the stars were aligning for Auburn to play a close game here like it usually does. Yeah. They had just beat A&M in a close one. They beat Kentucky, who I was high on. And I was like, oh, they're gonna look good, and Bama just came in and kind of handled business.
I mean, they forced turnovers; they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, but we had the time of possession by a long time. It was another 15-minute difference, and
yeah, how many times did they turn it over?
Twice still. So it wasn't like
I mean, yeah. But if you don't turn the ball over and you're +3 in the turnover battle, like your defense did its job, your offense just couldn't do anything.
No.
Up next, number 11, Tennessee going to Vandy. Me, Christian, Cam, we all got this wrong. We took Vandy plus 10.5. Zach took Tennessee minus 10.5. And I'm not going to lie to you, Vandy started out on fire.
Yeah. Yeah, they did.
Like, I felt good.
Were they up 17 or was
I forgot how much they were up by in the first half.
They went up 14.
14-0, like, right away. Yeah.
And then they made it 17-7, and then kind of Tennessee just ran it from there. They did everything they needed to. I think they used all their game plan up, and then Tennessee kind of found their footing and then hung 500 yards on them. So
yeah,
I was hoping more out of Vandy. This would have been another nice one to have for if you're an Alabama fan, because they would have dropped below us probably too. So. But what can you do? Pavia, they had a good year. Vandy's bowl eligible. They kind of threw away the end of their season there.
Yeah, they kind of fell apart. But hey, 6-6 Vandy, you don't see that very often either.
No, they're going to be good. I'm not sure. Pavia's
Pavia's still suing the NCAA.
Oh no, that's not. He's a senior now, so he's gonna be gone. So
well, that's not 100% certain yet.
Why?
He's suing the NCAA for more eligibility.
Oh, is that what? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
The JUCO thing, because he did 2 years at JUCO and he's trying to get those years back or something.
Yeah, it's still college, my man. I don't know.
Yeah, to me, it's like the way this has been going, they're going to favor him on the player side because that's just what they've been doing.
Mm-hmm.
But common sense speaking, they should definitely just let him, just say you're done. You don't need 2 more years. I'm sorry. Pavia, you're a good college quarterback. I don't think you're going to get drafted.
Oh, it got denied already.
Did it get denied?
Yeah.
Oh, see, I heard about it today and he was still fighting it, or yesterday, so.
Pavia's attorney, blah, 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 given the plaintiff the challenge bylaws and his ineligibility for quite some time. Court is not persuaded that an ex parte order is justified.
I think
it was extended or delayed or something. So
the red shirt.
Eligibility case expedited, whatever the fuck that means.
That means they're just gonna go faster. Weird. Because I think he was redshirted in JUCO or something along those lines.
We're not, as you can tell, we're not privy to the details, but
no,
it's not looking like he's gonna stick around.
Probably not. Nor should he, in my opinion. He's had 4 years at least. So, adios, my boy. You had a good run.
Yeah, he probably should have. He probably should have stayed at New Mexico State. Honestly.
Yeah, more than likely.
Kill was leaving anyways, was he? Or I don't know.
Well, Kill's the offensive coordinator at Georgia or at Vandy.
Yeah, so he just followed him, I guess.
Yeah, I'm assuming that might play a part in why he went to Vandy.
Yeah, what can you do?
No idea. Up next, we had South Carolina at 17 Clemson. Cameron took the bad week for overs, by the way.
Yeah, terrible week for over.
Should have. Rivalry week. Guess everyone should have gone under, huh?
Yeah. Every time an over was taken, it failed to hit.
Yeah. Christian and I took South Carolina. I took South Carolina money line. That's the second time I did that in this.
For the slightly better odds.
Yeah, for the slightly better odds you get for money. That, and if you just want to say that you know ball and the other boys don't, you can do it for that too. Zach took Clemson -2.5. Dumb pick. I've watched Clemson all year. Whenever they run into a decent opponent, they struggle.
Yeah.
So, Zach, dumb. That could have been your dumb pick of the week, in all fairness. Letting you know. South Carolina, scariest front seven in football, dude.
Easily, yeah.
I honestly hope they get in because I think they are one of the 12 best teams in the country right now.
I think it's pretty set. I think most of so really the only question mark right now is the Clemson SMU ACC championship because they would be inclined to have Clemson and SMU both in if Clemson wins.
Yeah.
But if SMU wins, then it's probably going to stay as is because I don't think there's another championship game happening that would have any bearing on the CFP, but we'll get to that a little later.
Yeah, we'll hop into that at the end of the show here. And I do want to hop into another thing once we get done with going through the results here. Up next, we had UTSA at 19 Army. Christian didn't want to pick this one, but he's the only one that got it right, so attaboy. Cam took the over. Zach and I took Army -7, and UTSA covered. So
yeah, there wasn't really anything in my picking aside from the Navy after they lost to Notre Dame fall off. So I was just like, you know what? It feels like a similar situation. They ended up winning, and I mean Army 10-1, ridiculous 8-0 in conference.
Good job, Army.
We
still
awesome.
love you here.
Yeah, they did their job. I mean, UTSA scoring 24 and only losing by that much when they only had less than 20 minutes of the ball and Army had 40 minutes of the ball. So there was some turnovers there, but UTSA hung in there. So
I've now learned that our government needs to put money up for the offense, not just the defense.
Right.
So
yeah,
triple the offense budget, guys. Come on now.
Add it to the list.
Up next, we had Notre Dame. This is one of our picks of the week. And we all got it right. We all got the Minnesota one right. We all got the Oregon State one right.
I would say Georgia Tech. I mean, Zach was.
And then Georgia Tech, we all got it right. He took the money line, but
I would have recommended that as a pick of the week for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, we're doing well in pick of the week so far.
Yeah.
Wasn't this the game where USC had a chance and then they threw like a pick six or something?
I believe that is what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, like they were driving down by 7, and then they threw a pick six to end the game, more or less. Let's
see.
It's a good win for us. Bad beat if you had USC plus 7.5.
I'm not sure. I want to say there was a turnover at some point. It wasn't right at the end of the game though, because they were down 2 scores and then USC scored late to bring it in.
Yeah.
I think that's a different game, but
maybe I am thinking of a different game.
But this was another confusing one because USC outgained Notre Dame. They were equal in the turnovers. They had more first downs and they had more of the football. So this was another one where, I mean, Notre Dame is just primed to get exposed round 1.
Yeah,
and I'm hoping Bama plays Notre Dame in South.
And Notre Dame, join the Big Ten, you cowards.
No, it's not financially in their best interest, I don't think.
Well, once their TV contract's up, I think they're going to end up in the Big Ten because NBC and the Big Ten have been getting pretty buddy lately. So I think that's what's setting, because that's the main argument. Notre Dame actually came to the Big Ten before and asked to join. It was either the 70s or the 80s, and the Big Ten told them to kick rocks because they didn't want Catholics in the conference.
Oh, Miller Moss transfer is in the portal now.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about it. We can go get him. We're good to go.
No, dude. He got benched at USC. Yeah, I think I tweeted. I said if Lincoln Riley couldn't figure you out, then no thanks.
Nobody can. Yeah, you're done. Up next we had the SMU game, Cal and SMU, which apparently is a rivalry now. I don't.
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, stupid conference realignment. Anyways. Cameron took the over. He was wrong. Zach also took the over and was wrong. And I don't know why they didn't pick SMU. We've had SMU up a couple of times, and every time someone doesn't pick SMU, they get burned.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that has a really, really good defense, and they have the most pressures, QB pressures in college football. So their front seven is insane.
It's good too.
And their offenses can do the job, and that's all you really need to do. That's why we're seeing these scores like this, where 38-6 Cal, 33-7 Virginia, held Pitt to 25. Like it's SMU is legit, and I don't think Clemson has a shot. I think Clemson folds under the pressure of good teams, and especially Klubnik against the front seven. No shot.
Yeah, I was gonna say because there are some games that I saw because I got high on Clemson right after they kicked the crap out of NC State, and I know it's NC State, but I mean they kicked the crap out of NC State. Like it was. I just watched the first half. I should have listened to the second half because they kind of imploded. They still won by like 3 scores.
Yeah,
but they were up like 35-0 at halftime in that game. So, anyways. Up next, we had Texas and Texas A&M. Welcome back to the rivalry week. Thank God. That's the one nice thing about Texas moving into the SEC is they get most of their rivalries back. Texas Tech never really was a massive rivalry, but Texas A&M's a big one. We all took Texas -5.5. We were all right. Another pick of the week that goes down as a victory. We've done really well on those this year.
We would have been, well, if we would have did a parlay on them this week, it would have hit.
Yeah.
Because we went, 4-0, 5-0?
4-0, yeah.
Yeah, and this one was kind of like just embarrassing a little bit.
Texas A&M just fell apart.
A&M couldn't score. I mean, Texas was having trouble moving the ball, but they were getting time of possession, beat them bad. Marcel Reed didn't look very good. Elko's defenses are doing the job, I think. I don't think that's something that you can point at as an issue for them. Besides the South Carolina game, I don't think they really had that bad of a game on defense. The Auburn game went pretty deep. They had 10 points in overtime, so I wouldn't even point at that. But A&M is good, set up pretty well for the future. I think Reed's a freshman, a true freshman, so so they're going to be
only
good.
Gonna get better.
Yeah, they're going to be good for a while. But Texas did what they needed to do to get into the championship game.
And
so.
they are in.
Yeah, I think.
God, that'd be a bad look if Texas won the SEC year one.
Yeah, that would
suck.
And they already played, and Texas lost, so they know what they need to do to kind of beat them now. And Georgia has not looked good at all.
It's the same thing with the Penn State thing now with them getting to the championship. I want Penn State to win because the Big Ten has never had a first-year Big Ten champion from out of the conference. So
they're not going to, though.
I mean, hey, the year that Penn State joined, they're number one in the country. Minnesota upset them last game of the year to make sure they weren't Big Ten champs. So it's happened before. There's a chance. Yeah. Not a good one, but a chance.
But a chance nonetheless.
It's going to be a close game because that's all Penn State can do is close games. So
I don't know. They haven't played anyone that's up to Oregon standards.
Well, I mean, even with Ohio State, they played a close game.
Yeah, but Ohio State is not up to Oregon standards, in my opinion.
Well, Ohio State lost to Oregon by what? 1 in Oregon? And
they
should
fell off a
have
cliff.
Won that game. They should have won that game.
Teams are not the same week to week.
Anyways, moving on. Kansas State at number 22, Iowa State, number 24, Kansas State, sorry. Cam took the over, Christian took the over. As we said, the overs did not hit this week. And then Zach and I took Iowa State minus 2.5. I don't know what told me to take Iowa State minus 2.5 because they haven't been playing very well either up to this point. I think it might have been that they're in Ames. Kind of give the edge to the home team there.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, yeah, Iowa State, good way to win. They're in the Big 12 championship, I believe, as well.
Yeah, it's Iowa State, Arizona State, so they have a chance. They have a CFP chance. I don't think that they're going to hang with Arizona State, but it's good that they're in the game, at least.
I'd be happy with either one of those teams going to the CFP, so.
Yeah.
Because Iowa State, I didn't believe this at first, but I actually did research on it. Iowa State is the worst FBS, record-wise. They're the worst Power 4 football team.
I thought Indiana by far was.
No, Iowa State is just as bad, apparently.
Because that was the whole joke, that Indiana has the worst all-time record.
Maybe they're the second worst or something.
They're around there.
They're a lot worse than I would think. But
Iowa State is
up until the last 10 to 15 years has been
on ESPN
bad.
Matchup Predictor in that game, so that's interesting.
Yeah, I think Arizona State's Scatabo, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
If I gotta go with someone, I'm picking with Scatabo. Before we move on to talking about the CFP rankings, did you see all the fights?
Yeah.
Rivalry week is awesome. Back, baby. I love it. So I think all the fights, didn't they all but one take they're over someone planting their flag?
The Bama one was just a sideline scuffle, an extended block.
Yep.
But most of them were the flag planting as a result. So
Baker Mayfield's still out here, still out in college football,
His
baby.
Ghost haunts college football.
Texas, or no? Who did he do that to? Did he do that to Ohio State?
Yeah, it wasn't the Red River rivalry. I don't.
No, yeah, he did it to Ohio State because they're in Columbus. Yeah, but yeah, those fights, dude. That was I was watching these players fight, and for some of those losing teams, I was like, that's more fight than they showed on the field all game. You just got beat and you have energy left over. You don't want someone to plant their flag on your home field? Beat them. It's not that hard to figure out, guys. Win the game. But I love it. It's good for the rivalries. It's good for college football. Mm-hmm. That was a lot of fun to watch. Pickens, didn't he get another personal foul for going after someone again?
I'm sure. Who knows? That guy is
I
insane.
don't know. Pickens crazy as well. I love the fact that all Steelers wide receivers are like crazy now. So
yeah, well, you knew he was going to be crazy, like from the time he got drafted.
I mean, he kind of brings an edge. I'll say that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought Minnesota. So I was thinking about this, and I was like, well, Minnesota and Wisconsin didn't brawl. Number one, when you get your ass kicked that bad, Wisconsin, you have no right to brawl. Number two, so like part of the tradition with the axe is you take the axe and then you chop down the goalpost.
Right.
So I think part of our tradition played in with that too, where no one's gonna like plant their flag in the middle of the field. We're just gonna go chop down your
yeah. You guys are just a bunch of respectful lads. It's just a respectful game, a gentleman's game.
Like I said with that game, though, if you're Wisconsin and you're, fighting after the game, starting to brawl after the game, and you got beat by 17, and your offense just got dissected by the Minnesota defense. Yeah, that would have been embarrassing as hell to have a fight after a game like that. It's not like it was a close game. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, most of the fights were close. The Alabama one wasn't even really like a fight. It was kind of like they just started like pushing and shoving on the sideline because one of our receivers got like blocked into the sidelines for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm. So, but here's the thing. That's the one thing kind of with the transfer portal too I was worried about was kind of watering down some of these rivalries because of the fact these students aren't staying here for 4 years anymore. They're just going to wherever they can play or whoever has the most money, what have you. But it's nice to see that these rivalries are still have some juice in them. I love it. And for all you that say, oh, they shouldn't be fighting on the field, I don't disagree with you from like the coaching side of it. But from a football fan side of it, I love rivalries, and I love that they get chippy.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Like Ohio State and Michigan brawling. They've had that happen in the tunnels before. Like, people were getting sprayed with pepper spray on the field this weekend.
That's awesome. It's like it's the 80s again.
It was so funny. Yeah, people are like, oh, how could they do that to the players? And I'm like, well, if you can't get control of them.
Each other.
Yeah, and they're big dudes. Like, I'm not getting in between them. I'm just going to shoot pepper spray too. Oh, God, that's funny. But I think we're set to move on to the college football playoff rankings.
Yeah, we received a comment on the live stream. Said, breaking news, folks. Holy moly. Rich Rodriguez has been offered a 10-year contract by West Virginia, per Jacksonville State beat reporters. I'm not seeing that anywhere.
Wow.
I think that's the rumor, but I don't see anything confirmed that Rich Rodriguez from Jacksonville State is going to West Virginia. That would be a good hire, though, in my opinion. He did really good work with them. I don't know where I would find that. That'd be super weird to come into the stream and then just post misinformation like immediately.
Hey, man, that's the first comment we've gotten on a live stream. I will.
Yeah, I didn't even have the thing up because I was like, what in the world?
Look at us. We're finally in the big time now.
He said yesterday that he hasn't gotten a call from anyone. Yeah, very interesting. Evan, the reporter, lied, so I think he should change his name. Anyhow.
Yes. Anyways, moving into like the CFP rankings here. I'm just gonna do like the top, like 17, basically, who has a chance to get in, more or less. And then if I miss anyone that you want to talk about, let me know. All right, so number 1 is Oregon. No surprise, they're the only undefeated team in college football. Texas is number 2. Penn State at number 3. That's a rough one.
I don't know how they keep doing this.
Because they're Penn State. That's how this is. James Franklin will choke when it matters. Don't worry about it.
I was seeing a post that said that Penn State has one top 30 win, and that's it. They have one top 30 win. Alabama has 3. and Penn State has one.
That Big Ten bias is coming in strong.
Indiana doesn't have one. It only has one either. Sorry, Indiana has one only also. So yeah.
All right. Number 4 is Notre Dame. Another one that we kind of think's is kind of fraudulent.
They're gonna get bounced.
5 Georgia. Ohio State got dropped to 6th. That them just going down to 6 is pretty nice after getting beat by Michigan, by your neighbors to the north. Yeah. Hey guys, remember when Michigan couldn't beat you guys no matter what they did? I think it's flipped now.
Yeah. So Ryan Day, is he on the hot seat now?
If they don't win a natty, I think so.
Well, I don't think it's obvious they're not going to, but.
Well, yeah.
5 in a row to Michigan. That's ridiculous. They were saying he was the best coach in football after Saban retired. Yeah. That's insanity.
And if he doesn't win a natty, they will fire him because that's how much they hate Michigan. Like, that is, like, as much as I hate to say this, right now it is the biggest rivalry that anyone pays, like, that everyone kind of follows, is Ohio State Michigan. So you need to win that.
It's like you guys especially in Wisconsin. Being the number 2 team. It's like you guys in Wisconsin just amplified. Like, you have to win that game. And especially this year, Michigan is so bad. I know that they found their footing and have been playing better, but you guys are ranked second in the country. You have to win that game.
And guess what? Michigan is still bad. It's not like they're a good football team because they found their footing a little bit. They're not a good football team. Tennessee's at 7. SMU 8. Indiana moved up to 9. They beat the living hell out of Purdue. Or they played Purdue, right? Yeah. They beat the living hell out of Purdue. Boise State moved to 10th. Bama is 11th. Miami, Florida is 12th. And then you have Ole Miss at 13th. South Carolina 14. Arizona State 15. Iowa State 16. Clemson 17. BYU doesn't matter. UNLV is the only other one that has a shot, right?
Oh man, are they even still in it?
I don't know. Are they in their championship game?
Well, one of the Big 12 teams is making it, I think, at this point.
It's going to be interesting. Because everyone just kind of assumed that all 4 Power 4 conference teams were going to.
So UNLV plays Boise State, and I mean, I think if you win there, do you jump the Big 12 winner?
To me, if Iowa State wins, sorry, geez, I don't know.
Yeah, I let's see CFP odds. Let's see, or
Arizona State has what, 2 losses? Or are they only at 1?
They have 2, I believe.
Okay, and Iowa State has 2, right?
Iowa State has 2, yeah.
Geez, I don't know, because they would beat the number 10 team in the country.
All they need to do is get ahead of one of Arizona or Iowa State, whoever wins that, to get their spot, to get their bid.
To me, because obviously if Boise State wins, all this is a moot point. But this gets a little crazy now because you have a group of 5 team that's ranked in the top 10 playing another ranked group of 5 team in the championship. So would you hold more credence on them beating the number 10 team, or would you hold more credence that you beat a Power 4 top 16 team? That's basically, to me, it should be the Big 12.
I don't know, man. But how high they have Boise State, that'd be a huge win.
Because, they made this comment after this past week in the Big 12 because chaos ensued once again. Imagine that, the Big 12 being chaotic. They made the comment that there might not be a Big 12 team in the CFP. just the way everything has fallen, where if Boise State gets beat by UNLV would go. And personally, if you have Boise State ranked that high, you almost have to do that.
So UNLV is still up on the national championship betting odds. So, and they're the last one of them being up.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they still have a chance. I wish I knew where to find like the percentages.
Now, if they beat the living crap out of Boise State, then yeah, they should be in. How much of it's going to come down to the eye test too.
Right.
So, definitely an interesting question.
When was this from? This says it's live, and they say 32% chance. So they're saying if they beat I'm on playoffstatus.com, so don't just take this with a grain of salt. But they say that if UNLV beats Boise State, that they have an 87% chance of making it.
To me, that seems right, because if you rank Boise State that high, you're pretty much giving the winner of that conference championship a CFP spot.
UNLV has a 28% chance right now, according to the All-State ESPN player.
Which would basically be them winning.
Yeah, so yes, it's you have to beat Boise State because their season's over after that if they don't, right? So they're saying they just have about just the same as Alabama to get in.
And here's the thing, the eye test is also going to come down to the Arizona State-Iowa State game too. Mm-hmm. Like how much of it is it? Because to me, you're in the conference championship. You shouldn't be punished for losing that game, but when it comes down to that's the deciding factor, then you run into a situation like this. But I'm all for it, man. Take the 12 teams. I'm down for the 12-team playoff. So, yeah, because Colorado still had a chance to make the Big 12 championship had everything fallen their way. Like, it would have been the equivalent of like winning the lottery. But they are still in it.
I'm not sure how this works, but this is really interesting. They're saying that if Alabama makes it, that they're the favorite to win the national championship game.
How? Sorry, no offense.
I'm not sure if that's what this is saying, though.
I don't think that would be true.
But if UNLV gets in, Texas is like I'm confused how this works. But yes, UNLV has a chance. Apparently, BYU still has a chance somehow.
How does BYU
Louisiana,
have a shot?
Lafayette, Raging Cajuns still have a chance. Ole Miss has a chance. Army has a chance. A very slim one at that, but I'm not sure how even statistically that would work out.
Yeah.
Who is Louisiana Lafayette playing this week?
And this season has been pure chaos too, which makes this even better.
So they're playing Marshall. I have no idea how that would.
Could you imagine getting Indiana and Boise State in to the CFP the first year?
I think it's likely that you get Indiana.
I think Indiana's
Boise
in
State,
now.
SMU.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No. So the teams in the top 10, I think, so top 9 are all locked.
Yeah, because Ohio State's not playing in the conference championship. They're not going to crush Penn State if they lose to Oregon. Even if they get blown out, they'll still be in the top 10.
Yeah, they're going to have favorable Texas, Georgia. It's not like anyone's going to get bounced out of that.
Yeah.
Notre Dame, they don't play anyone, right, this week? So
no, because
I didn't know if they even scheduled a game for this week.
No, they typically don't.
Tennessee isn't playing, so they're going to stick around. SMU is the only team that looks like they can even get bounced besides...
by Clemson, and then Clemson would hop in.
And there's a chance that if Clemson wins, that they'd have SMU and Clemson both be in. That's like the Bama screw-over
like worst
scenario.
case scenario.
Yeah, as if Clemson wins, but I am
I highly
98% sure SMU is going to win that game.
I don't even know how they got back to being ranked 12th. So,
who's 12th?
Last week Clemson was 12th. I'm looking at the
they're
movement.
17 now too. Do you think they would even if Clemson wins, they'd even put them up?
Well, if Clemson wins, they beat a top 10 team, more than likely.
Yeah. I want UNLV to win, actually. I'm not even gonna lie. I want to see that.
You just want to see mass chaos.
I want to say, well, I think UNLV is really, really good. You know how I've been glazing.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're a good squad. The problem is there's this guy named Ashton Jeanty who just kind of
whatever
just runs through
Everyone
everybody.
Talks about this guy. He gets 40 carries a game. It's not even that big of a deal.
He gets even though he had less number of carries and he had more yards than Derrick Henry in his Heisman season. We're getting close to the same amount.
Well, put him in the SEC. See what happens. I'd like to see that.
Once again, I don't like that argument because he'd have better athletes on his team too.
But I think the defenses cancel that out, and the scheme, and the better coaches,
But yeah, this is gonna be this weekend's gonna be huge, dude. I'll be watching college football all weekend. This makes it fun.
Yeah, are you able to watch this weekend? Because I know you get busy.
I work Saturday night. I'll watch it anyways, though.
Memphis sneaking into the rankings at the end is awesome. Good for them.
Way to go, Memphis.
Yeah, I think pretty much everything's set in stone except for SMU and Boise State. I think are the only two that are at risk, and by association Alabama also. But I think Miami's out, Ole Miss is out, South Carolina's out, BYU's out, Missouri's out, Illinois, Syracuse, they're out. Syracuse sneaking in again. Good for them. Colorado ended up ranked, so good for Prime. Illinois, 21. I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't know, man. Illinois, they're weird.
Feels like they're getting the benefit of the doubt for a 3-loss team.
Yeah, no doubt. Especially the teams that they've lost to. It's not like, they lost to Penn State. They lost to Minnesota.
They have good wins, though. That's what's holding them up.
Yeah.
Who did they beat? They beat Nebraska early. Kansas and Nebraska were ranked early. Michigan was ranked early. Those teams
but Nebraska also started out 5-0, so I can understand why. And they beat Colorado too, which is a good win.
Yeah, so if you're doing currently ranked teams, I don't think they have a ranked win of currently ranked teams. So it's kind of that's just how it is. If your schedule ends up that you run into teams that are hyped up early in the season but aren't as good as they were the last year, like in the situation of Nebraska, like starting 5-0 or something. And Michigan, who was still ranked week 1, 2, 3, 4, like week 7, they were still ranked because they were riding off their like top 10 ranking at the beginning of the year. Like you can luck out and get placed because if Minnesota beat any of these teams, they would be ranked too. It's just they didn't play anyone that was ranked that early.
In the year, yeah.
Because Iowa wasn't ranked at that point. Michigan was, I think, but what are you gonna do?
Yeah. And by the way, Flex, for all you Gopher fans out there, Flex name is going to come up in that North Carolina job.
I think
his name's going to come up.
Honestly,
get us out of the $20 million buyout that he has
to greener pastures. That's a lateral move anyway. I don't know.
Yeah, he didn't go to UCLA when they were trying to hire, and he had interest there.
I don't think that was a lateral move though. I think
UCLA.
Yeah, I think that would have been a downgrade.
Oh, for sure.
Because he's a Midwest guy, isn't he? Didn't he? Like Ohio
he went
State
to NIU
or something, yeah. So
and he was a assistant at Ohio State, which is where he gets the whole own the time of possession thing. Because that was a big Ohio State thing when he was there under Jim Tressel.
Yeah, so
I don't think he's gonna. Personally, I don't think he's gonna leave unless they offer him way more money. He's not gonna leave, and North Carolina's not a huge football school.
No, and I mean. They had Mac Brown, so like if you're not going to succeed with a national championship winning coach, I don't think that PJ Fleck is going to go in there and do much better.
Personally, and I know this is going to kind of be a 180 because I've been on the PJ's seat is hot, but the more I've talked to my dad about it and just other people in general, the more I think he should stay until you know what you want. Like you shouldn't fire him.
Like unless someone that you can go out and get that's in a rough situation, like Florida for Lane Kiffin. Have you heard that? Like get tossed around. Like that would have been a perfect situation, but Napier saved his job at the end of the season.
Way to go, Napier. Give them a little bit of hope just to crush it all next season again.
Yeah, can you believe that? How that ended up happening? My preseason
They
prediction.
turned it on. They turned it on.
Yeah, well, Lagway saved his career basically.
True.
Yeah, because beating LSU.
How did you start Graham Mertz over him to begin with is another question.
Well, what's crazy is didn't he get hurt and then they re-put him back in? Like
Graham Mertz?
Season? Yeah, I think he played.
Yeah, he got hurt, and then he got put back in. Then I think he got hurt for the rest of the season. So
yeah, like Mertz started the Tennessee game. Like if they end up with that win, they probably end up pretty highly ranked at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sucks to suck, Florida. I don't feel bad for you.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything else, man. Do you got anything else you want to bring up?
No, I'll save the predictions for next episode.
Yes, and thank you to our one commenter tonight.
Yeah, we had actually, I think we ended up with 4 views.
Nice.
Not too long on the average view duration, but we had 4 people tune in at some point. So awesome. Thanks for the misinformation in the comments. That's pretty awesome. Just shows that the internet is a cesspool and nobody can be trusted. Even the one guy on the first comment we ever received, it's literally a lie, like something that just isn't true. It's crazy.
And okay, but just the way that this is written kind of throws up red
flags. Holy moly cow!
Yeah, holy moly cow! I think this is a bot. Breaking news, folks, is this first one. That's funny.
What a weird thing to make up.
Yeah.
Like,
gotta love it.
It's not even like that big of news.
No.
The West Virginia hire. I don't know.
Yeah, West Virginia hire is the hottest news on the circuit right now.
Islanders lost in overtime again.
How are the Mild doing? No, you're just not gonna. Okay.
I thought you literally peeked down at your phone. I was like, oh.
No, I thought you were. I just thought you were on the page.
No, I don't.
No, you're good. I got it. We're down 2-1 at the end of the second.
No, I just got the score report on my notifications there, so that's how that came up.
Ew.
But yeah, the Isles are second to last in the Metro, and I think they should throw the old tank on, get the number 1 pick here.
The Minnesota Mild are tied as the league leader in points.
Yeah, it says you guys are up on my thing.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, or like on top at this point. I think you have more goals for. Oh no, that's interesting. I don't know why they would be on top of Winnipeg. I don't think they're ahead in any statistical category. They have less losses.
I wonder. I was gonna say, well, less losses, or maybe because we have 1 less game played. I don't know.
Yeah, interesting.
So, anyways, we're just rambling now. So we will see you all here next week.